Welcome to more World of War. Welcome to more World of War.
The way's not clear when the sky is dark, casting around for any kind of mark. No way forward, no way back. Which way to turn? Which way is right? When there's no sign, instinct is sight. One way forward, no way back. One way ahead. Behind those clouds is the blue sky, and up above, the sun on high. Just go forward, don't look back, never look back.
Well, good afternoon. I'm the Noble Q. This is a stream of World of Warplanes on YouTube. I'm from the United Kingdom. It's 51 degrees Fahrenheit out there, so it's a fraction over 10 degrees, very mild for the time of year. And what are we doing? Well, we're hunting for these, the candies, because we want to get the new Tier 8 Premium American Heavy Fighter. And it's beginning to come into view. We're on the last stages now. So let's move obs over there. The best way to get candies is to complete these missions here. Now, I've already done checkpoint this morning, the 1 token mission. I have 1 leg at period 1 of perseverance to do, and that's the 4 token mission. And then we have a new 10 token mission. Those of you who were with me this morning know that I was doing Cowboy and Aristocrat, flying British and American aircraft, and now I've got the equivalent for Soviet and American aircraft. I'm going to try and get this one done today. So what we're going to do is fly at tier 10. Just going to fiddle a little bit with YouTube. There we go, that's a bit better. Well, certainly tiers 8 to 10. And we're going to start with 10 with an aircraft which I have a love-hate relationship with. Well, actually, no, not even a love-hate relationship. I just hate it. But we're going to try and play the XF-90. Go and find the pilot. Let's have a quick look and see what we've got here. Interesting choice, a bit of manoeuvrability there at high speed. Right, let's go and see what the bomber spam's like this afternoon. Off we go. Now, I feel comfortable in many heavies. This is not one of them, and I struggle with the guns, and I struggle with the lack of manoeuvrability. However, we don't have a Soviet heavy. The MiG-15 BIS, I think, would be the best choice on the Soviet side at the moment, given the way the game is. Full of bombers. Let me have a quick look. 1, 2. Well, they've only got 2 bombers, but they've also got 2 ground attackers. I'm the odd one out. There are 8 players in this game. I am the only one not in a ground attacker or bomber. Crazy. CIS players. If I put it diplomatically, they love their bombers and their ground attackers. If I put it undiplomatically, they can't play anything else because they're awful players, and the majority of them are. Oh wow, I didn't actually manage to kill that target. It's unusual. That was a bit better. Right, let's go and see what else we've got. Taking care of the escorts first. Very wary of that other ground attacker, it can outmaneuver me. Force. Well, if there are 3 of them here, then they can't be elsewhere, can they? That's the way I should look at it. So maybe I was about to say, if there are 3 of their ground attacking aircraft here, then maybe they can't be anywhere else, so my team must be making progress elsewhere. And of course, we've actually lost 4 sectors, because my team is not making progress elsewhere, and this guy's just going to try and hunt me unless I get right above him. I do mean right above, because he can take that up to 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Oh God, what a team! And here's exactly what I was talking about, the utter ineptitude of many of these CIS players. I'm not even going to get a candy out of this. My team is so bad. Incredible. That's what I often find with these guns. Give them the lead. Bullets appear to be going into the plane. Nothing happens. So I've spent the entire game here, and the game's lost before I even get to leave the sector. Probably. Be quite an amazing comeback from here. It's got this engine now. Let's just leave him and come back. Could I do? There's 3 of them, all in the same sector because it's the only sector we own. What are the rest of my team doing? So many of these battles are completely lopsided now. And I kind of feel that I've actually disadvantaged my team by playing a heavy because they've been forced to fight with a single. One less ground attack or bomber. Well, that's got me my candy. Thank heavens for small mercies, really. Let's go. Game's lost, so... what can you do? So we had 3 bombers and ground attackers, they had 4, and ours were, until towards the end, were totally incapable of taking a sector. What can you do when you've got such bad players? And this is why they play the overpowered aircraft, because they are mostly really poor players. And it's all they can manage at high tiers. If they want a half-decent game, they have to go into an overpowered plane or a high hit point plane that gets ignored by heavies such as the ground attackers. What an appalling game. Good afternoon, Piloto. I guess you might be over in the North American continent. Multi-roles. Well, it depends on what you want to do. So let's just quickly go through them. If you're not used to multi-roles, I recommend the British line because they're most like the fighters. So let's go and have a look at that first. Okay, runs from here. Tornado. These are punchy aircraft. They're not very manoeuvrable, but they've got pretty decent guns. Then the Tornado, very good plane. Very powerful, good guns. Typhoon, pretty good. Tempest, also pretty good. If you have the Sea Fang, the Tempest is better. Seahawk, not that great. Very average. Low average. And of course now, difficult in this era of bomber spam. The Hunter, at one time a really good aircraft, and it still is intrinsically a good aircraft. However, it just cannot compete with 4 bombers per game. It used to be that this was a sector denial aircraft. And you would race to the enemy's important strategic sector, for instance a mine near their spawning point, take out the central object with a very powerful ordnance, and then harass their ground attackers and stop them from taking that sector. Well, you can't do that anymore because they've just got too many of the damn things. So that makes the Hunter far less enjoyable to play. But a powerful aircraft intrinsically, just struggling like many aircraft to find a niche in this era of bomber spam. This line is most like the fighters. If you're coming from fighters, this is the line probably I would recommend. Now, what else have you got? Much more tricky to play, but still relatively comfortable. the Corsair line of American multi-rolls, and this would be my second choice. These Corsairs, decent fighting aircraft, and up here they start becoming very good and with the ordnance. This in particular, this F2G, the Tier 8, has got a nuclear bomb. Then they change. The F-94D is a bit of an outlier, frankly. It features a Gatling gun, a Vulcan cannon. Once the top gun is a Vulcan cannon. It's got air-to-air rockets. It's a fighter in all but name. It's not really a multi-role at all. And then we go to a proper multi-role with 4 decent bombs and tricky guns. Many people call this the Gutless rather than the Cutlass. Some people like it. I'm not one of them. It's a tricky plane, but this is probably the second line I would recommend. It's then a toss-up between the Soviet line and the American line. Now, because the American is a true multi-role, I'm going to say this one would be the third one to choose, but the Republic line, as this is, because most of these aircraft are Republic aircraft, is tricky. These are hard-hitting but not very manoeuvrable aircraft. Pretty good at dive bombing if you want to do some dive bombing, but a bit light on their guns, especially up at Tier 9 and Tier 10, and that's really bad news these days. You do not want to be going into battles at Tiers 9 and 10 without heavyweight guns, and these haven't got them. So this is the line I would probably recommend third. However, if you want something a bit different, the Soviet multi-rolls are not classic ground attacking planes. Yeah, some of them do carry a bit of ordnance and some don't. But what they all feature from here on, Yak 7 all the way to I-215, are mighty big guns. Well, with the exception of the I-211, which sort of actually goes back a little bit with 30mm cannons as opposed to the much bigger ones on the Su-9 and the I-215. These are sniper planes for the most part, apart from this I-211. You're meant to shoot at 3,500 feet and destroy targets with mighty cannon shells. And if you happen to have a little bit of ordnance, such as a couple of bombs, a couple of rockets, you use those almost as an afterthought. So quite a fun line in its own right, but not strictly multi-role in my view. So there you have it. I hope that helps. Okay, so we got a candy. That's the main thing, 441. We need to find something Soviet to fly at Tier 10 and try and get a win as well. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And I am going to try that MiG-15 BIS. Mainly because if it comes across a damaged bomber or a damaged ground attacker, it will have a good chance of taking them out. Let's just see what we've got here. Let's just reassemble that and see. We want to go for fires and critical damages. That'll do. I won't change anything now. I don't want to, I've got plenty of tokens to be fair, but I don't want to throw them away. Yeah, let's have a go with this. And we'll drop down to Tiers 9 and 8 and then keep going back up until we start getting our wins and try and get across the ocean mission done. But this could be a painful experience. 1, 2 bombers and an IL-40P. This is what passes for a low bomber and ground attacker game these days, which is ridiculous. And we have an Su-10, a Tier 9 bomber, and a slow-moving IL-40P. Mind you, they've got a slow-moving IL-40P as well. Well, they've got a significant advantage in my opinion, especially as they've also got the Javelin, which may be able to harass and stop one of these. Whereas we've got me. Yeah. Okay, first order of business. Let's try and take out the heavies at the military base. Friend. I want to know what your friend's doing before I go for you. What's your friend? Okay. FJ1 should have that. So I'm going to get out of here. Yep, good. Okay, we've already got our plans. Questions. Is he damaged? He is a bit, but he's flying across me, that wouldn't be so bad. No, he's turned away. Do not go at the back of an EF-131 in a fighter. You'll just simply lose your plane, and you probably won't even get within firing distance, which is stupid. And it needs sorting out by the World of Warplanes team, but that's the way it is at the moment. Good. Between us, we took him out very quickly. Now, we've nearly lost our plant already. However, the only thing that appears to be there at the moment is a multi-role. Is somebody defending this, and is it a human? It's not a human, so I'm going to get over here and try and make sure that multi-role doesn't get shot down. The longer we... The FJ-1's had the same idea. The longer we hang on to this plant, the better. It's a nice little fire somebody's put on him. Me, I hope. Right about now, I'd be expecting a bomber coming in. Then it becomes a question of is it full health or not. I'm going to go off and try and kill the heavy over our military base. Don't want to lose that either. The military base is doing a fine job. Oh, there's a bomber. What kind of health is it on? No, forget that. It's full health. I think in the scheme of things, it's probably better to try and hang on to the military base, because that's stopping them taking their plant. Bomber must have been hit by at least 2 different aircraft and took virtually no damage. I'll be able to kill the multi-rolls though, that will hold them up potentially. I don't think it will hold them up truthfully. That's going to give me rockets. Shouldn't be turning with this, but I'm going to try because it's a bot. Good hit on him. Good. Actually got a count off that plant. In a sense, it's almost done its job already. Now the EF-131 is badly damaged, so it might make more sense to leave him be, frankly, but it's also handy points. That's not the EF-131. Let's get a new aircraft. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go and try and defend this. With a bit of luck, my team will take back our plant quite quickly, and we've actually got the other one, which is great news. Lucky us. And that's got shot down. Okay. So now our military base is firing here. Splendid. We'll lose the centre, but let's go. We can go hunt now for a little while. So we undoubtedly will have that plant in a moment. Well, provided there are ground targets there to hit. critical I was hoping for. That wasn't what I wanted it to be, though. Crikey, did I not kill that? Quite mad. No, I didn't kill that then. I don't know why you're here, but that's a useful kill for me. So's that, because that's just got me my token. Too much health. There we have it. Managed to squeak a token there and a win, so we've started on across the ocean. And I think really with the fighters in this era, and with all these bombers and ground attackers, you really must try and have a high DPS fighter. The low DPS fighters, the low altitude slow fighters as well, really aren't going to cut it. And even these, you saw several times I looked at a bomber and said, no, not going there. Really shouldn't be saying to yourself, I'm not going to attack a key aircraft in the enemy team because I've got no way of winning the engagement. And that's what it is with the bombers. If you get behind them, even if you're in a heavy, you're in trouble quite often. In a fighter, you've got no chance, and that's just ridiculous. The World of Warplanes team have got a lot of work to do to try and rebalance these bombers and try and persuade the CIS players to stop sticking their fingers in them all the time because they can't play anything else. Hello! How are you, Mr. Rogers? Which planes would you recommend to a new player? Well, that always depends on what you like doing, El Buatu. And if you're playing... Question, how have you built, if you've put any equipment on your BF-109B, what equipment did you put on it? Now, the FW-57 is a very easy aircraft to play for a new player. And that tends to suggest that what you are best at doing is, at the very least, high energy fighting. What's high energy fighting? Stay high, stay fast, don't do a lot of turning, stay off the flaps, try and fight in part of a group. The FW-57 is a bit of an outlier there because you can get immense range on the weapons, and you've also got a very good rear gunner, and if you get highly skilled crew in there, it's a bit of a lethal aircraft. It's no wonder it's a favourite of SEAL clubbers everywhere. But there's no reason not to keep going up that line of the FW-57. Within reason, the rest of the aircraft will feel very similar to that, and that would tend to suggest to me that you're going to like your high energy fighters. So, apart from the German heavies, what would I recommend? BF-10B is good. BF-109E is great. 109F, average. G, also average. Maybe below average in the case of the F, and barely average in the case of the G. ME-209A, quite manoeuvrable, fairly pokey, sort of okay. 1092, decent-ish. Again, you're really running into problems with the bomber spam at the moment, of course. Glorious aircraft, the MEP-110 up here. This can be made to hit really hard, almost as hard as a heavy, and is probably the fighter of choice at Tier 10 at the moment. It's not as manoeuvrable as some, but that's not really key these days. You want something that can really hit hard and is versatile. This is a very good aircraft as fighters go these days. That said, if you're good in the FW-57, we'll look at the heavy line in a moment, you might consider playing the Fokker-Wulfs and then coming down this line. Now, all of these are hard to play for most people because they really must be played like heavies. And this one's a sniper aircraft and quite tricky with it as well. But these have got bludgeoning short-range cannons. And now if you can fly like a heavy in these and play like a heavy, you may very well do well in those. Most people don't like these aircraft because they find them too hard to make work. The heavies, this is good, this is good, this is good, This is good, could be great with the right pilot. Civilian, okay, I like it, many don't. Then I struggle with the ME-262s, but again, if you fly this really well, you might find, as long as you can cope with the speed, you might find that these are really good. So on the German sides, that's where you want to go. You probably want to stay away from the turn fighters. Where else could you go? Well, it really is the USA line. Heavies here. These are quite manoeuvrable, these heavies. This one isn't, and is a bit underpowered. This is a bit of an outlier. It's more like a multi-role than it is a heavy. The Banshee is an out-and-out heavy, and then there's the XF90 as well, which you might enjoy too. Alternatively, you might also enjoy the British high tiers. Many people find the Mosquito and the Hornet lackluster. I like them, but that's because many people don't understand these aren't true air superiority fighters. They've got lots of ordnance, and they're almost like multi-roles. You begin to become more like a heavy with the 1056. You're definitely more like a heavy like with the P228, but you've still got great ordnance. Then you've got nothing but a true air superiority heavy. No ordnance whatsoever. Just heavy guns and a lot of hit points as well. What else might you like if you like that FW57? What else is there that you could go for? Not really a fan of the Soviets. For you, probably. You could try this line, actually. In fact, I've just played the combination of this line. If you fancy something that's fast, but still fairly agile, most of these aircraft, with the exception of that one, which is goes up and down, but not much else, and this one, which is sort of like goes in a straight line and hits things with the cannon, these are agile, heavy-hitting fighters. You might enjoy these as well, as opposed to going for the Yak ones, the out-and-out turn fighters. So quite a lot of recommendations there. Japanese line, probably not for you at the moment if you're into high energy fighting. Both Japanese lines, in fact. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. So with the Turners, then you've got your Spitfires, your Yak 1 line up to your Yak 30, and then the Japanese aircraft, including the multi-roles that are cut in on the Navy line at Tier 8. They're all turn fighters. So if you want to do turn fighting, those are the three lines of choice. Right, so we'll go down to Tier 9. Heaven help me. We've just flown Russian. We should fly American, so let's go and have a look. We flew the XF90. Also got the 10s mixed in there. Let's get those off. Well, for similar guns, fairly hard hitting, but not very manoeuvrable, let's fly the Pirate. This used to be attached to the multi-roll line, so it's got multi-roll levels of boost. It's also got multi-roll levels of manoeuvrability. Tricky aircraft. Get that enhanced because we can. For me, I'm much more into my turn fighters. The ones that go up and down and in straight lines I find much more difficult to be effective in, but we'll give it a go. I also struggle with these 20mm cannons. For some reason I don't land the 20s very well. Hello Odins, how are you? And those of you who are wondering when I say Odins, to whom am I talking? The gentleman with the ideograms in my chat is Odins, as I call him. You're more than welcome, El Buarte. In fact, the whole reason I do any streaming at all and YouTube content is for exactly that reason, to answer questions and help people along a bit in the game. I certainly don't do it to show off my skills, because I am far from the best player of this game. Very far. I'm above average. Maybe even good. But I'm certainly not elite. So if you want to come and see elite games and 30k points per game, I'm not the man. But if you want somebody who will take the time to sit down and explain to you the basics of the game, what you could do with that aircraft and what you might do with this one and how you might do it differently, that's me. Just the three EF-131s then, and a ground attacker. Issue 10, EF-131, issue 10, and a ground attacker. It's ridiculous. World of Warplanes team are going to have to find a way to limit the numbers of bombers and ground attackers, because they're turning this game into these tiers into an absolute mess. So that's 4 out of, in technically 9, but most often 8 at most. So that's half the team in bombers and ground attackers, which means the rest of us can't really cope with them unless we all flew heavies. And that's boring, always flying heavies. Now with these guns you've got to listen to the sound. Don't bother looking to see if you're hitting, because there's a mismatch between the visuals on the 20mm cannons and the actual hits. Careful, that's some company. When you can land them, they're really good, but I find landing them pretty tricky. There's a yak going down. We've got both plants. Right. What health did that bomber have? Well, it doesn't really matter because I'm probably not going to fight the bomber. I'm going to try and take out the... One thing's for sure, I am not going at him from behind. So what do? But I end up going at him from behind. I managed to use this as cover though, and now I am not going at him any longer. Suicide. Go for the heavies. Really? It's not me. I'm behind him. Perhaps I should station myself at the plant and wait for him to come, but I only get one pass at him before I have to buzz off. Virtually nothing in this game. Oops. Well, that helps them when they take it instantly. I keep getting assistance on the Yak 30. Again, I'm behind the bomber, I can't take him. This one I might be able to, although I've got very low health, this might be the only thing I get to do. No, I'm behind him as well. Can't do that. And you can tell that the F131 players are just used to demolishing people with their guns, because the moment they see you, they just turn away from you so they can get you with their rear gunner. I'm dead. I'll only be as long as... wow, really? Finn, you may have let me kill him there. So you can get a new aircraft. Lucky me. Okay, so I get to try and take this garrison again. Am I using mod pack? No. There are very few mod packs available. Mostly Russian, which for obvious reasons I don't use, because I don't speak the language. Maybe that's not so obvious, actually. There is one which I haven't used for ages called Dr. Simpson, and we're now 4 seconds to go down suddenly. This is the way of the bomber. There is a mod pack called Dr. Sinisters that I used to use and don't any longer. I only use 2 mods, which is the one that puts the asterisk in front of the bot names. Where are the heavies? I don't really want to be fighting with the Spitfires. And also the one up in the top left corner of the screen, which is let me get him before you shoot him down. My Precious, and I'm not sure how much longer the My Precious mod is going to be running. It's time limited until the end of December at the moment. Really? Why my bombers over a garrison? We're rapidly losing this game now. We were on top for a long time, but my bombers have been caught out of position. I don't know why they've come to the garrison. I need to get some damage to get my candy. So the My Precious mod is time limited to the end of December. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be running. I flew away from that gaggle of aircraft. There's no point in me flying into the middle of a bunch of aircraft like that. Candy. Oh, I didn't realise I was following an E131 there. See what happened there? This is something that's got to stop. He shot my pilot out, I healed him. He shot my pilot out straight away. What is the point of me using a consumable if you're just going to get critical off every more shot? There's something that's been changed in the game. The bots are doing it as well, so it's not the CIS players. Why the game is suddenly having so many criticals in it, I don't know, but it's really making it hard for a skilled player to do work, because what's happening is you're going to target, and say you're in a turn fighter, and you're up against something you know you can out-turn. You evade, so you can turn it. And the moment you evade, it shoots your wing or tail off with one shot. Say you're in a speed fighter, or a speed... You're coming up against an aircraft, you want to speed away from it, you go towards it, you speed past it. As you go past, it shoots your engine out, so you can't get away. And this is happening all the time now, and it's incredibly frustrating because it takes the skill out of the game and makes it all dependent on criticals. And the criticals have been turned up to 11 stupid. Never ever known so many criticals in the game. Okay, let's try something Soviet then. Let's try the ground attacker. Yeah, I could use premium medkits, and maybe that's what Wargaming have done. They've upped the level of criticals to try and force people to use gold consumables. I've got the gold to be able to do that, but most people can't do that, so they just get frustrated with the criticals. They go in for an attack, they outplay the player, and as he goes past, one shot, and you've lost all the advantage that you should have by playing skillfully, and he just turns on you and shoots you. I think that's the reason why the CIS players all ram, because they just expect to get criticaled and lose the engagement if they don't ram. It must have been like that on the CIS server. Well, I wish they'd turn it off on this server. It's frustrating the bejesus out of me. It makes you feel like that this is no longer a game of skill. think it's highly unlikely they're using gold ammo. The other thing I can say, Skunkbeard, is that we've noticed that the criticals started getting worse off bots before the CIS players came into the game, so I don't think this is a CIS player related thing. Now, it is possible they've set their gun sights to do criticals. Frankly, given the standard of play I've seen from most CIS players, I don't think they'd know what to do, know about that, or even try to do it. So I don't think that's a factor either. So to answer your question, no, I don't believe that. And by the way, I've transferred a CIS account to this EU server, and you don't get free gold ammunition, which is something somebody thought might be the case, so that they were able to fire gold for credits, as it were. That's easy 80 points. Not too many rockets on building there, but got it anyway. So if I've got 110 points, why? They must have got a bomber over the top of us. Know what I'm looking for. Need to get a bit higher so I can get above all the other stuff in the way. Oh my god, I've got another team of numpties, haven't I? There's something else I've noticed as well. It takes an absolute country age for the guns to come on target. Oh, we're going to lose this to superior primacy. What on earth is going on here? Come on, get in before. This is terrible. I have to say, this makes me feel like not wanting to play teams like this. Look at this. How can my teams be so... I didn't actually look at the battle. I very rarely do now, I just try and play it as I find it. So 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, he's jumped out. So already that's a problem. Basically, we've got novice ground attackers against 2 specialised ground attackers. This game's already finished. I don't think I'm even going to have time to amass 8,000 points. This is ridiculous. Yep, we've got the IL-10M. Admittedly, I pity him. Tier 8 in a Tier 9 battle with what is not a very good ground attacker, but he's not even got 1,000 points. This guy has got 60. Wow. Wargame is going to have to do something about unbalanced teams as well. This is happening far too often now. Stomps and routes. Yeah, the P61 hasn't got the firepower in the same way that the XP54 has. The XP54 has got both high DPS and long burst length, which is why it needs a massive nerf. Still, even though it's been forced to play at Tier 7 more often than Tier 6. The way the P61 goes about it is differently. Its low DPS is actually quite low. It's as bad as the Fisher Eagle, for instance. But it's got 12 seconds of burst length, which means that it can just keep pumping those shots out and does high burst damage. Now, the XP54 has got both high DPS and very high burst damage, so it's not strictly the same comparison. However, the P61 is very manoeuvrable. It's not very fast, it is very rugged, and it also has something the XP54 definitely hasn't got, a vicious turret, which can also fire forwards. Well, heavens to... Top tier. Also, the matchmaking has got to stop doing this. I'm top tier Grand Attacker, and I've been matched with a tier 9 bomber. There's no way a Grand Attacker is the equivalent of a bomber. And that categorisation in the matchmaking has to stop. The bombers need to be put in their own category. They need to be matched against one another, and there should be no more than one of them per battle at high tiers. Because the bomber spam is just wrecking the game. Proper dumping my aircraft and starting afresh there, but we'll give it a go with just about half health. 850 cows. Yeah, that would be one way of doing it. The other way of doing it would be to actually let them keep the cannons, but reduce the overheat time to what it should be, which is like 2 or 3 seconds, not 10 seconds. You've just been hunting. Oh, the heavy's coming. Oh, come on, team. Again, look at this. The fighters and this Grand Attacker have gone to a garrison. And what irritates me about many of the CIS players is this behaviour is legion. They absolutely do not understand what are important centres because they just swarm around the map. Treat every sector as if it's the same. They also don't know what targets to bomb. Look at this guy, he's completely ignored. He's dropped a bomb on the tents. Totally crazy, inept play. And here we are, we're playing tier 9. And there we go with the criticals again. Too late. Trouble is now I've got a long way to travel to get to a sector of importance. There's no point in going over there, because if we hold the military base, that's going to flip it anyway. Best bet is probably to go here. This is the one I think they will take. Yeah, and Skunkbeard, you make a good point. You really do. Changed the XP54. XP54 should have come in with 50 cals. It's now that you mention it. I mean, I know some of the other aircraft have got 20mm cannons, but I think that's a really good point. And certainly it would be one way of trying to rebalance the aircraft, because it's grossly unbalanced at the moment. Even at tier 7 it's highly competitive. And there's a reason why people spam the damn thing. It's because it's easy to play and it's powerful. Incidentally, guys and girls, you'll find that I have a handful of games in the XP54, largely to help me produce my videos on it. A handful of games in the B-29C, which seriously needs to be nerfed, and no games at all in the SU-10 and the EF-131. Deliberately so. I won't play overpowered aircraft. Still, I've got my candy. I've certainly softened that target up. We should be able to take it now. Is it worth going to the centre? To be truthful, I don't think they're going to take it. Matt, hello to you. Change of plan. Seconds to bomb, so I'm not going to boost there. We did actually take the centre, much to my surprise. It didn't look like they were going to. So we did take that garrison that I softened up, but we lost another one. Oh, that's okay. Bombs in. Now we're boosting. Wouldn't it be good if it destroying this complex actually stop the rockets from firing? Probably wouldn't be good, actually. Come on, there we go, there's my gap for the bombs. Nice little thunder middle, 400 capture points. Is he pointing at me? Yes, he is. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He had all the manoeuvrability he could have possibly wanted to avoid me. It's almost like the Russians, the CIS players, make it a point of honour not to pull out of Iran, even though they're guaranteed to lose it, such as that guy just did. We're well on the way to victory now, sir. I just call that utterly stupid play. Not sure I'm going to get to do anything else. Oh, this could hurt. This definitely will hurt if he points his gun at me and hits me. Fortunately, the bot chose to avoid me. Oh, there we go. I want you to pay attention, just draw your attention to that second time I went into that military base, and the other ground attacker was with me. You saw him drop a bomb on the tents. Of all the targets to drop a bomb on in that sector, the tents are the last place you would drop a bomb. And if you get to that level, a tier 9, or you get into tier 10 games, I think it was a tier 8 ground attacker to be fair, and you still don't know what you're supposed to be bombing. What have you been doing? You haven't learned anything in hours and hours and hours of play. crazy. Great, so we've got another 3,000 there. So that's both tier 9s done. Let's try some tier 8s. Go American first. And we're still getting plagued with bomb spam down at tier 8. You'll find lots of RB-17s being flown at the moment. So I'm going to try something relatively hard-hitting. Played some of the other heavies already this morning. I'm going to play the XP-58. Good idea. Which ones are you going to buy, Skunkbeard? Several sounds exciting. I like your thinking, Albuato. That amuses me. Dzień dobry, haha. Okay, I've seen your message, I've got it. Bloop. You didn't have to see it to be able to shoot it, I just knew where it was going. Oh, okay, already got this. Yep, one came here. Strong start, we've already got 3 sectors. What have they got? Ground attack. Oh, I could feast on ground attackers if I'm lucky. There's one. Oh, he's stalled out. Come on, get there, get there, get there, get there. Perfect. That's a bit unfair hitting a Spitfire with those. Where are you off to, my friend? Oh, he's seen me. Oh. That looks like AFK. He is. Okay, I need to have chased him. Used all my boost to do that. I didn't realise he was actually AFK. I waited for him to come back. Still, somebody else would have shot him. I don't really want to be fighting here. I'd like to be fighting over there. Get away from him. Fighting the aircraft I planned on fighting, but never mind. I want to be hitting ground. This is what I want to be firing at. Though to be fair, that didn't have many hit points for me. That one. This is the AFK one again, isn't it? Let's go and try and take the military base back. He'll still be around, although they'll chase him. Grand attacker. Look at this stupid grand attacker. He needs to go here, so he's chasing the grand attacker. Well, let's hope he comes over here now. Making a meal of taking that. It's turned away, so it'll be this one first. Head on, I do nothing. Difficult deflection shot, I catch him 3 times. How have we not got that? Military base. Is that me? Sorry, I need this to make sure I get my 6,500 up to 8,000. Let's try not ramming info. Amazed he managed to get across without being destroyed. There we go. Sorry, I needed it as well. It's got to have hurt. And he took his wing, so he's not very manoeuvrable. Him. He's a bot, so it doesn't matter. To make sure we don't lose this military base now. I'm going to wait until the ground attacker detaches himself. Tries to come over here. Okay. Oh. Let my guns overheat. Silly. I don't think he's got time to take it though. I hope not. That could be a critical mistake, that. But bed luck, we'll get their military base. Go. That seals the deal. Even if he does take it now, it won't matter. We're going to take the middle as well. There we go. Unless we lose all our players, we should be alright now. Should that one go through? Shouldn't have let that ground attacker destroy me, but he's only just reached there. Took his engine out apparently. It's all good. Multi-rolls are well away from harm. Game over. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards where I can putting criticals and fire damage on my guns, the gun sight, the bonus characteristics. However, I think with the XP58, you'd be right, Skunkbeard. I think you do need to actually concentrate on accuracy, full stop, because otherwise those shells fly everywhere. Couple of mistakes in that game. Flew into the back of the IL-20 when I had no need to do so, just being greedy, trying to finish it off quicker than I strictly needed to do, and then I let my guns overheat. I know going for the B2 and just sat behind it like a lemon. At the very least, if I'd overheated, I should have gone straight up in the air. Again, lazy play. Not a good demonstration. And nonetheless, not too shabby a game overall. 10,000 personal points in today's meta is okay. And another candy cane and progress on the Across the Ocean mission. So we've got 11k out of 25k. Happy with that. A lot of work to do to get it finished, but that's what we're going to try and do. Where I'd like to finish today, ideally, is around about 476, 475. We've got about 30 to go. And if I finish at 475, where will that take me? 476. Or maybe 480. More candy canes. Oh no, heat resistance parts and some equipment. Experimental bulk carriers. Okay. Super. So somewhere around there would be nice to finish. And then, with a bit of luck, with the right missions, 2 days more and I should be able to get here. Okay. Right, so let's fly Soviet at tier 8. Let's fly the SU-9. See if we can get some sniping in. A little bit tricky with my eyes these days, but we'll give it a go. 3,700 feet, 3,800 feet really. Interesting that I chose to put a little bit of... Yeah, okay, I can see. Might be able to just stay on target a bit longer. What's the other armament? 23mm? 2 of them. Okay, off we go. So, MiG-15 bis, excellent choice. American and German heavies. I struggle with the XF-90. I never feel comfortable in it. The ME-262 might be worth a tank build. Think about that. Bearing in mind that you've got to go up and you will end up behind EF-131s. Mind you, if you're playing on the NA server, it's not so bad. You might be better with a speed build on the NA server. On the EU server, I would definitely recommend a strength build nowadays. I used to go all in for speed, but now there are so many bombers, you can never be in front of them at every point. You will end up behind one of them and need to take it down, and that's where the tank build comes in. Ideally, you've got the bomber there. Let's see if you can see the bomber there. Hang on, take one hand away. Bomber there. What you want to do is come in like that, flip, and whilst it's going like, you want to get in front of it and never get behind it. Very hard to do. And a lot of the bomber players I've noticed now will deliberately swing their aircraft to try and make sure that you can't make that manoeuvre. Here. Actually, I deleted that with the big cannon. I actually did get the count. I can tell because it's up here in the corner. I actually shot that down, even though if the sector was blue. I deleted it with the cannon. I'm going low here. I want to use the bombs. I expect to see ground attackers coming in. Talking of which, 20, that doesn't frighten me. One's gone in low as well, but he'll be going for the main target, I should think. Tom's here as well. It's up too high, we'll mark him. Bit of luck, I can just... maybe I could go for him. It's up really high for an RB-17. This is the old-fashioned way of flying the RB-17. Too high, that is, I would say. He's up at 9,000 feet. He's trying to avoid being shot, but it makes the aircraft slow and less accurate. Where are their ground attacks? Oh, the ground attacks will now come from the airfield, so they've just taken that. Hit him with the big cannon. It's the Tu-12 again. Ground attackers coming in. Might be better to watch the ground attackers actually. Be careful here, this guy's not quite likely to have a go at me. It's too late, but it helps getting the sun that I need. Goodness, he got deleted because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get him. Good fire. Got it back. Good. And I've got my candy. So, excellent job. Happy with that. I don't feel any need to go and take the command centre. I think it's much more important for me to just keep smashing things with my big gun here, which implies the ground attackers and bombers trying to come in and take it back. I maybe got one more in me before I get killed. Got the airfield, so they're going to have to come in from this direction. There's one there. Bomber there as well, so between us, heavy and me. Well, the heavy may be able to do it anyway, but the heavy's actually made him turn around, so that's a disaster from his point of view. Even if the heavy doesn't finish him, I probably will. Well done, heavy. Bit of a freak hit, that. Nothing freak about that. You are going to face me and make it easy for me. I will smash you in the face. Ooh, I know there was two of us on him, but even so. Okay, that should secure the game. Happy with that. My contribution has been useful. Hello, Erica. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, I'm making some good progress today. I'm quite happy with what's going on. Yep, Javelin, 1200 hit points, 500 more than either the ME262HG or the XEF90, 400 more than the BVP215, which most people don't realise. It's more like a heavy than people ever realise. Played on the NA server when I first started playing this game 5 years ago. In fact, I played on the NA server probably more than I played on this one. I haven't played on it recently. Good. Another 3,000 there. Excellent. 14k, we're making progress. Got another candy, of course. That's 446, so not bad. Right. Let's go up to tier 10. Voice of let's play American, and now we've already played this, so let's try this F7U. We struggle with this one, but it's got really good bombs, and if I can land the guns, that is actually something well worth doing. Those guns really do make a difference. But a bomber killer it is not. As we all know, this game, tiers 9 and 10 now, is all about CIS players spamming bombers. Yeah, 446, yep. 4 more candies, and I am 3/4 of the way. Kind of like to be around about 480 today, and that will make it a workable 2 days worth of work to get to the P61, provided the missions are in my favour. I've been very lucky with the missions. I've had 4 in a row which I've wanted to do. Tier 10s this is. Sorry, 10 token missions this is. We could make a curmudgeon clan. I'd be excellent as a member of any curmudgeon clan. So here's what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3 EF131s and a Grand Attacker. They have 1, 2 SU-10 and EF131 and a Grand Attacker and another EF131 there. This is just stupid. This game, in theory, is about capturing and holding important sectors. Well, you can't hold any sectors against these people. You just cannot hold the sectors. They're going to go hell for leather and try and get out some gun emplacements in the Cutlass and try and hold them up. The other thing I could do is actually try and take out the central object, the power plant. That might actually be a smarter move, to be fair. The trouble is, if I bomb this now and that EF131, which I know is coming, I'm actually wasting my time going for the central plant. I'm probably better sticking to my original plan of taking out gunning. What I hadn't realised is that their bombers came to the mining plant and look, ours are AFK. What am I supposed to do now? Or rather, they just flew off to the side. They just decided not to contest and let them take it and then come back and take it back. But at least let me take out some ground emplacements. Use so-and-so's. Ground targets, rather. I've got 3, so I've got some hits there. Maybe I can kill this. Wow. 4 sectors. Going to be reduced to shooting an EF131. No, I'm not, because he's turned away. While he's bombing, he's got to more or less look at... Oh, he's going to fly into the... Go on then, go on, give me the kill. I thought he was going to fly into the mountain. I actually killed him, which surprises me. So what he did there was he turned around to threaten me with his rear gun and then turned straight back in, but I saw that and flew in over the top of him and then decided just to try and shoot him. Anyway, try and damage him to prevent him from coming back for another run very quickly over some other sector. As it happened, I took him out completely. Is that another bomb going in? Citation. Never mind. Probably now. It'll probably turn for me. Right, so will my bombers now actually go back to the plant? Oh, thanks for spawning me right in... Spawned me right in front of the blasted fighter. So the instant I came in, I got shot. Don't know if I'm... Yeah, I thought I was far enough back. Nothing to worry there. Should pick up repairs. Should also reload my bombs. Should have done that a little bit earlier. That was a very bad spawn. Really bad spawn. Shouldn't be turning to this. For God's sake, Jack, stop moaning. You'll be probably wondering how I didn't hit him, because I've no idea either. Oh, if you're not aware of what happens at Tier 10 with Tier 10 bombers, Skunkbeard, welcome to what we've been dealing with. We've been complaining for a couple of years now that the EF-131 needs nerfing, and when you get one in a game, as we were getting before the advent of the CIS players, it was bad enough. Now we're getting wall-to-wall bombers. You cannot hold a sector. You simply cannot hold sectors. And over half the players are now flying bombers or ground attackers in a team, if not more than half. I had a chap in my stream yesterday in somebody else's stream, God's Ring stream, Burger King, and he said that he'd had 7 bombers in one game, plus ground attackers on each side as well. Now, technically, you can get 9 players in a game, plus 3 bots. I've never seen that. The maximum I've seen is 8. So let's go with 8 as the norm. Often it's less. If you've got 7 bombers plus 2 ground attackers, that means that half of one team, at best, is ground attackers and bombers, and more than half of the other team is ground attackers and bombers. There is no way, no matter what you choose to fly, that you can stop all of those. So it's basically just swarming. The only good thing about that game was I managed to get progress on this mission here because it was a win. I didn't get my candy. And I fought pretty hard there. I really did. Fought really hard. It's a pity though all those shots at the end, even though I was perfectly lined up, all missed that 1092. Incidentally, the 1092 is far more manoeuvrable than this aircraft, so why was I outturning it? It's because the CIS players do not learn how to fly their planes. They just fly straight, shoot, get shot down, or survive the ram and carry on, do the same until they die. They never bother to learn how to fly and outfly somebody. Many of them. They really are appalling players. Having said that, I better just check that was a CIS name. From the way he flew it, I could hardly believe it was anything else. Was it a 1092? Oh, did he swap into it then? So now I don't know who it was. It's time on that. It wasn't that. No, that. Anyway. Right, so that was the Gutless. We got a win in the Gutless by hook or by crook. Okay, let's try the Tier 10 Soviet ground attacker. Too slow these days. Used to be the aircraft to do ground attacking with. Now he's the last choice. Behind all of the others. German bomber, Soviet bomber, German ground attacker. This is now the last choice. It used to be the premier choice. It's now too slow to be useful. But we're going to give it a go anyway. What it was the CIS players. I'm not going to drag nationalities into it, Skunkbeard. The CIS players seem all to have a particular style of play. They've come across from the CIS server, which has been shut down, as we all know, on the 13th of December, and now they play in a very different way to the people on the EU server. They play aggressively, without thought of trying to retain sectors. So they swarm about the map at low tiers, which means that if you're a good player and you know that holding the military base is going to win you the game, watching the entirety of your team fly off to a garrison and lose the military base is incredibly annoying, but that's what they do. At high tiers, yes, because they're not good enough, they don't know how to fly their planes, they don't know what is important to try and win a game, they just jump into overpowered planes with high hit points. The bombers. The GAAs get left alone these days by the heavies because the heavies are too busy trying to shoot down multiple bombers. So they fly those. And their whole impact on the game is horrendous. The skill level has nosedived. The vast majority of them are really poor players, and they remain really poor players all the way up to tier 10. They do not learn. Which to me suggests that because clearly they're as intelligent as you or I, they don't want that kind of game. That's not what they're interested in. And I also think this is why World of Tanks has been dumbed down to a stupid game. From my perspective, a stupid game. Because they just want brawling action in your face, die, get into the next game of World of Tanks, or get into their next respawn here. Good. I obviously set something on fire. There. Unfortunately something else took that out, but I got damage for it, so that's good. Well, I've got no ordnance, so I may as well go and attack the airfield. I've got the middle, which is where I would normally go next. Is my friend coming with me? So he's going down that line there, which is fine. I'll go down this line here. Oh, I just caught the crane. That was do this at least once a day. I get greedy. That was pure greed. I was trying to shoot out the maintenance shed, and I wasn't willing to just overfly it and come back and do it. Pure greed on my part. Oh. This is the way it's going to be. My team can't even take its local airfield. I was relying on spawning there so I could go and attack their mining plant, and now I can't. And with that bomber there, I think I'm going to actually have to hang around and wait until that's taken, and then try and retake it. How ridiculous. Maybe I'll get... Okay, there F-131 decided he saw me, threw his aircraft into a wall to get a fresh aircraft. Oh, tedious. This is the other thing we're noticing. The teams are grossly unbalanced in terms of skill. Not that it takes much skill to fly a bomber. Good. Dragged him across. Accidentally fired off a rocket, which is irritating. That looked deliberate to me. To my mind, that was somebody trying to set this plant up for capture by us so they could recapture it and get points. Which I'm wasting my time. Let's actually just dump the aircraft. Now what we can do is spawn here and try and get to this plant. Yeah, it's a bad habit of mine, Erica, and it's one I've yet to cure myself of. It's really frustrating that I know that I shouldn't do it, and yet I just go, oh, I'll just go one more moment, as you say. Totally unbalanced team. I didn't help by crashing into the airfield, but to be honest, it would have made no difference. So we failed to get a candy there as well. We're really struggling with the candies at the moment. Today, I've probably missed out on maybe 1 in 10 up until this stream, and now, what, I've missed 3? We'll give that another go. Of course, no count on across the ocean either. You've got just got to be patient. We know what it's like. I did play version 1 of the game, Skunkbeard. It had its own problems, of course. Quite different to these ones. Right, so I'm actually going to go garrison. I'll tell you for why. We've got 2 SU-10s. 3 SU-10s. Well, even if I go to the garrison, I suspect I probably won't be able to do anything there. But there's definitely no point in me going here, because at least 2 of the SU-10s I'm sure will go there. Unless one of them's enterprising and goes there. And then I'll probably go to the airfield and try and beat up stuff. And that says everything you need to know about this aircraft. Its first choice of sector is best. The best choice of sector for it is a garrison. Because it's not going to get to do anything at the important sector. Because the bombers will do it all. And far quicker. One of the SU-10s came here. So the one small advantage is that I should be able to get to this military base. One disadvantage is I may very well find that I've got a ground attacker coming here. It's actually an EF-131. I suppose in a way that doesn't matter. Why do I get the one player who wants to defend? Crash, aren't I? You drunk? The way he's flying, oh my god. I'm very tempted to say too much vodka, mate. Pasquinel doesn't actually sound like a CIS name to me. Oh my god, look at this. This time it's the other way around. My team is routing. Nobody's going to get a candy. Well, very few of us are going to get a candy. Anybody who's not in a bomber is not going to get a candy, I predict. That's not the same one, by the way. That's a bot. I won't be flying into the spawn. I'm going to have to go and hunt ground attackers. I might get to do something here. Oh, no. Okay, no chance. As I said, just too slow. Two bombers just went and flattened all of the targets. I wasn't fast enough to be able to get to any of them. And that aircraft just has no place in the game at the moment. You'll get a good game in it, I don't know, 1 every 10 games maybe. Yeah, we need to actually reduce the number of criticals in the game, though. I don't know if it's the same on the NA server, but the criticals have gone up to 11 stupid on the EU server, and the rear gunners need to be nerfed savagely on all of the ground attackers and bombers. You're getting to the stage where even if you're in a tanked up heavy, you cannot follow a bomber or a ground attacker. It will shoot you down sometimes before you even begin to get your guns firing on it. Yeah, I mean, what can you do, Erica? We're all chasing candies, and we've got people flying bomber, 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 and the game ends in 5 minutes if there's an imbalance in skill. This is proving to be a really unpleasant session of World of Warplanes, and this is how it is at Tier 10. Yes, you're right. But by that time I wasn't concentrating because the game's nearly ended. I didn't really care anymore. And that's the problem. I'm playing Tier 10s, and if I refuse on principle to play overpowered bombers. I have not played the EF-131 or the SU-10. There's the SU-10. Look, no equipment, not specialised, no trained pilot. EF-131 is also the same condition. There we go. No trained crew, no equipment, not specialised. and I never will fly them because they're overpowered. The CIS people seem to have absolutely no scruples about flying overpowered aircraft and ruining the game, and I suspect that's because, as I've said already, they think they know how to fly their planes because they never bother learning. They just swarm about the map shooting and dying, shooting and dying, shooting and dying. And to them, that's how World of Warplanes is played. It's incredible they've never learned any better. I don't know what that Gutless was doing behind me in that game. For all the world, that looked like somebody who was drunk who was flying. Never seen anything like that. I don't think he landed a single shot at me. Right, tier 9. Hey. Oh, let's have some fun in the fighter. Let's see if we can rack up at least 8k points in the Goblin. Certainly won't have any impact on winning the game, I'm quite sure. Unless it happens to be a tier 9, which is rare these days. Even with tier 8, Erica, yes, it is a better option, but you're still getting wall-to-wall RB-17s. And the occasional B-29. So yeah, if I really get stuck, completing it at tier 8 will be the way to go. I just find it really annoying that I want to play at tiers 9 and 10, which is where I should be playing, and I can't get a game that's enjoyable because of all of these ridiculous bomber players. Heavens above, I am top tier. Well, here we go, 3 bombers here and a ground attacker. 1, 2, and they've got 3 ground attackers and a bomber. And it's not likely I'll be attacking any of them in this aircraft. It's not what I'm here for. I just got fed up of trying to play so that I can get out bombers and ground attackers. I could be playing anything here and I can't stop 4 of them. It's just as simple as that. I cannot stop 4 of them. You're very lucky on the NA server, you haven't got this. Tiers 9 and 10. Yeah, you've got the problem of overpowered bombers, but it's only 1 a game or something like that. Here, you're getting multiples of overpowered bombers in every single tier 9 and 10 game. And even if they weren't overpowered, you still wouldn't be able to stop 4 or 5 of them. I think he thought about it there. Got a problem here. I've got Spitfire and Tempest on me. Perhaps I should have gone for the Spitfire first. Actually, I probably would have been sensible going for the Spitfire first. I think there's a very good chance he wouldn't have been able to manoeuvre. So here we go again, look, swarming behaviour. Okay, they haven't got any of the important sectors, so to a degree this is understandable. But it means that we're now going to take the airfield. Waiting actually to just see if we're going to be able to do that. Come on, shoot something down. Come on. There we go. I can actually outmaneuver a vampire very easily in this. He possibly doesn't know that, but I can. Right, now I want to take that Spitfire out if I see him. Be interested to see if he can play or not. there's the Tempest. Now, there's the Spitfire anywhere near him. And again, totally unbalanced game. Could get bomb trapped here. No sooner said than done. As I said, this aircraft is not suitable for taking out ground attackers. Foolish of me. I must admit, my concentration at the moment is absolutely dire. I'm having a hard time concentrating because I keep getting into matches and just go, really? More bombers? Yet more bombers? Yet more bombers? I just get really bored. Finish this guy off. Somebody hasn't already. In fact, I think it's the way he's shaping up. I think he's. Oh no, he's not trying to catch. He's trying to bomb trap. Oh, seriously? I was on my way up and I was a long way away. The range of the radius of that bomb is very, very high. He's down. I get to spawn at the airfield. I've completely lost interest in this game at the moment. It's become a chore. And it's going to continue being a chore until such time as wargaming limit the number of bombers and ground attackers per teams and make the games more balanced again. Because at the moment they're just completely boring. I can't be bothered to play properly. It's not him you've got to worry about, it's me. I can outturn you. I'm trying to bait him to dropping a bomb. Maybe out of bombs, to be fair. Oh look, we're going to lose because of superiority. If he just spawned there, he's going to be mad because he spawned right in front of me. Oh, he's lucky. He's got 3 seconds left. What? Oh, it's his engine. I thought I got a fire. Vampire for the last time, provided something doesn't get in my way. Fire. If you're not careful, I'll shoot you instead. Nobody helping. So now he's trying the up and down. Thanks, guys. We've got a multi-roll and a heavy in there. Neither of them could be bothered to shoot anything behind me. And again, I think I'm going to fail to get a candy. Or I might just get a candy. Let's have a quick look. What have I got? Yeah, I've got a candy this time. Good. That's a shame. Could have easily killed the vampire. But nobody could be bothered to shoot the F-94D. But it's a candy. It's good. Yes, Sniper Son streams as Fallen Angel. You may not know he's disabled. And it's not a question of taking the bombers out of the game. I sometimes ask, do I think the bombers should be removed? No, I don't. Because people like Sniper Son, as you know him, Fallen Angel, as I know him, would have less enjoyment in the game. To be fair, Fallen Angel can and does fly other aircraft, but he's really good at the bombers and the ground attackers because that's what he in most fits his abilities. So we don't need them removed, but we do need them limited. And if you were to ask Fallen Angel, he'd probably say he would agree. Okay. How much progress did we make there? That must have been fairly decent progress. Across the ocean. Got to try and get my eye back in. Yeah, we've got 2k to go. Just over 2k. Right, what are we going to fly? Soviets? I'll tell you what, let's fly the other one. Let's fly the other Tier 9 Premium. This one's not so nice as far as I'm concerned. But it's okay. Oh, I haven't seen him play the BBP. One of my favourite aircraft, that as well. Yeah, there's nothing like that on the EU server. They were too disparate culturally. And that's even more so now we've got the CS players over here. Right, now the correct thing to do is go here, like that, in a semicircle and try and take these 3 sectors. EF-131, ground attacker. I'm actually going to go and try and take the airfield. I'm strictly a bit part player in this game. The important sectors, nothing to do with me in this game. Certainly not at the start. All I can do is try and lock down the airfield. That's a nice ram from the box straight away. Turns straight into a J7W2, which is a fragile light aircraft, and I lose the ram. Irritating. And as you can see, last shot as he goes by takes out my wing. Hope everybody else is shooting this guy visually. First shot took out the pilot. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. They need to turn the criticals off in this game, or certainly reduce them down. I barely got a shot in before he actually smashed my pilot, and then he just finished me off straight away. Let's go and try to take that command centre back. I can joust with those. We had a really good session on Twitch this morning. This is proving to be a really horrible session. What's that? Oh no, we've got the airfield. And now just shooting with his rear gunner. He's flying into the side of the map, so I might be able to shoot him down. Watch it now. Actually, I'm wondering, I think it might be smart to get a full health aircraft. Final phase of this battle. If I go in there to the middle with a half health or less than half health aircraft and just ask him for trouble. And this shouldn't be allowed. Bombers should not be allowed in flights. This is a pussy flight. It's designed to try and rig the game in your favour. And these pair do it all the time. They're a pair of clowns. They can't bear to play properly, so they play in an overpowered flight. So something else World of Warplanes needs to do is prevent bombers and ground attackers from being put into flights. That shouldn't be allowed. Pair of tourists and custom, you're a pair of clowns, you really are. That shouldn't be allowed. That needs to be stopped by Wargaming. They shouldn't allow this kind of flight to take be created. No, there won't be fewer bombers. They were flying all these bombers before the event supercharged. And so the daily I'm working on, Erica, is across the ocean, which is flying Soviet and American aircraft. But you need a win, unfortunately. So, and basically, to get a win at these high tiers, you need your bombers to be better than their bombers. And when you're faced with clowns in a pussy flight like that, it's very difficult to get a win. It's just scummy behaviour, and Wargaming needs to stop it. They need to prevent these aircraft from being put into flights. Take away the fun. They need to nerf the planes as well, particularly, well, certainly need to nerf the EF-131 very badly indeed. I'm not sure about this one. Time will tell. Here we have an EF-131 player with a sub, I'm going to say 40% win rate here for this guy. Well, the problem with tier, well, actually, bless my soul. Oh, he's got a 53% win rate because he plays nothing but his most played aircraft are these. So even flying that aircraft, which is grossly overpowered, and this one, which is very powerful and being ignored now by almost everybody because they're too busy trying to shoot down the bombers, even though he flies these aircraft to death, he's still only got a 53% win rate. I reckon with other aircraft his win rate's going to be 40%. And that is absolutely typical of a CIS player. Clueless, useless, and all the way up to tier 10, they retain that. They do not improve. You can expect people to be clueless at tiers 1, 2, 3, even 4, and then start gradually learning, oh, if I do this, I'll be better at the game. For some reason, these guys just never learn. So they're awful all the way to tier 10, and they remain awful at tier 10. And I think it's because they've never learned how to play properly on the CIS server. They've just swarmed about shooting and dying, shooting and dying, shooting and dying. They haven't got a clue. And that's a typical example. I got a candy. That's good. I didn't get progress on across the ocean, but we're not far away. I mean, we will get a game where my bombers are better than their bombers. It's as simple as that. Let's go down to tier 8. But I'm afraid that is the consideration. It's not I'll be in an aircraft where I can dominate the battles. It'll be I'll be in an aircraft which is carried by my bombers. It's just painful. And not only is it painful, it's actually boring. It's boring watching all these bombers flying around trashing the game. Never ever in my wildest dreams did I imagine that the CIS players would be, to a man and woman, so bad. Never occurred to me that they would be just utterly unable to play the game and yet be present at tiers 9, 10, 8 and 10, playing it like tier 1 noobs. Yeah, troll sounds like that's a different problem entirely, but that's a troll, isn't it? Fortunately, fairly rare, but yeah, we've all had them. At the moment, there are a few players I've noticed who, if you happen to be shooting an aircraft down and they think it's their kill, the next thing they'll do is shoot you down if they can. I had one this morning try and shoot me down because I stole what he's considered to be his kill. Never mind that I was in front of him and shooting the aircraft and he was behind me. It was his kill, and as soon as I shot it down he started shooting me. Babies. That's what they are, babies. activated the heavies. I don't think that's a real artifact. Ugh, it's too late. Oh well. Let's take the bomber. If we can. Interesting, you see, as soon as I get behind him, the very first thing that happens, my gunner gets shot out. My pilot gets shot out, so I can't kill him. Yep, I see him. That's where I'm going to go next. Probably too late, but that's where I'm going to go next. The question is, why did nobody stay there to defend? Because that's not the way these players think. It's set to cap. Everything's dead. Move on. Is there a gas on take? Yep. Let's all leave the plant. And there you go. Why did you bother taking the plant if you weren't going to defend it? And they just don't see that. They just simply do not see that as being relevant. It's just nonsense the way they play the game. Utter, 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 utter nonsense. I'm told, interestingly, that the way I play the game, tactically, thoughtfully, trying to win the game, I'm told by a few CI's players that what I do is just boring. They'd rather lose the game having been aggressive and shot down a few red aircraft. It doesn't matter that they lost the game. As long as they shot down a few red... Before I can even attack him, he has shot out my engine, he's shot out my pilot, and he's also shot out my wing, both engines. Before I can even shoot at him. Now, you tell me, that never used to happen. You might get one critical every 5 or 10 seconds. Now you're getting 3 criticals instantly. How can you fight another aircraft when it can just critical you all the time? It's just crazy. Basically, once I get behind that ground attacker, it should be game over for the ground attacker. And I can't get anywhere near him. I just can't get anywhere near him. Why am I capturing plants? What the hell is my team doing? And here we go again. Watch. Oh, this is a different guy. Let's see if the same happens with him. There we go. Straight off, shot my gun around. Now, he's not doing criticals as fast as the other guy. They need to address that. They absolutely must address this criticals issue. It's not just the player aircraft, it's also the bots are doing it. It's almost like there's been a setting on the CIS server. And it's been brought over to the EU server. It's like they're protecting the weak players by allowing them to do criticals and preventing people from outplaying them. But it's also been turned up on the bots. It's absolutely crazy the amount of criticals that are taking place in this game now. Struggling to get a win here. And the thing is, it's not in my hands. It just simply isn't in my hands. I cannot deal with all this bomber spam. I have to just hope my bombers and whatnot are better than theirs. But that guy in the CIS server has got like a 13, 14 point pilot. He was doing criticals at the rate of 1 every second or 1 every 2 seconds. He put 3 criticals into me in the space of 5 seconds. That should not happen. You cannot play against that. That was close. Did you need to be that close, my friend? One shot. One shot, instant critical. Now, what I need to fight a yak is to be able to fly away from him and then come back. So what happens? Very first shot takes out my engine. And it's happening now with such tedious regularity. So when you're going in to fight another aircraft, it's no longer based on your skill, it's based on who gets the first critical. All got to shoot this guy. Fortunately, RB-17s are quite fragile, and even he can't shoot more than one aircraft at a time. Oh, great. Have you seen what's happened? We haven't got any of the other sectors. Despite the fact we've got a military base shooting at the sectors. They've somehow managed to capture all of the other sectors. which means their entire team is coming here. So if we leave, we lose this sector as well. And if we don't leave, we lose anyway. Wargaming. I would quite like a win sometime in the next hour or so. How have they managed to do that? Enough, we're about to lose the military base. So there it goes. Actually, let's take this garrison. Watch the ram, watch the ram, watch the ram. Watch the utterly stupid player going for a ram against me. Yak 15, got all the manoeuvrability in the world, all he has to do is dodge, get behind me. No. I'd rather ram. This is what's happening all the time. Let's go and try and get that military base. Oh, what the hell? From nowhere, a Yak 9. Sniped. That's a bot. Not even within my vision. That's complete. Just deleted me. Well, we need the military base, so let's get in. What else is up? Oh, really? Okay, we got it anyway, but I shouldn't. Now we've lost. Oh, we've lost all the other sectors again. Oh. We just can't get on top of this game. He won't be coming back, so... Which sector do you belong to? This is the bot that won't take damage. Look at this. It took me forever to shoot him down. How have we nearly lost the military base again? I'm not interested in going after him. Try and help take this garrison. They've got another bomber. Well, they had two RB-17s. That's why we couldn't hold on to anything. Yep, we've lost everything else again, and we've lost the military base again. And again, we absolutely must not have multiple bombers in the game. Really cheesed off. Can't win against the bombers. Yeah, El Buatu, I'm afraid this is happening, and this is a change in the game's behaviour. The criticals have been turned up to a stupid level, and as I say, I don't think it's anything to do with the CIS players, unless it's a setting that's been imported from the CIS server over to the EU server, because the bots are doing criticals, left, right, and centre as well. What's that? 4 games in a row I haven't been able to get this mission completed. Yeah. And unfortunately, the problem is that it's actually nothing to do with me. I can't stop the 2 RB-17s. I shot him down after the school line. How did he... Oh, somebody swapped into an RB-17. That can't be right. That wasn't... I could have sworn I shot him down after the school line. And yet I... Oh, this here. Sorry, I misunderstood. They had the B-32. We spent too long in the centre dogfighting, and I wondered why it was such hot work in the centre, and then I realised they'd taken all the other 4 sectors. So who did we have? And it's not as if... Oh, it's far less than this guy. I mean, I can't complain about the Tier 7s. That's not a great score for the J7W1, but... I'm sure they've got a bad one as well. Yeah, the Yak-15, you see. Didn't do anything either. No, we just didn't take down the RB-17 often enough. He was smart. He went round the periphery. He didn't come to the centre. We were both fighting in the centre. I should have seen that. "24 kills. It's good. And you will do better, Erica, than 24 at some point, but the 24 is rare enough. I think my maximum in a game like this is 36, so I killed the entirety of the enemy team 3 times over in one game. Trying to make up my mind what to do. I'm going to our plant mainly because I want to try and protect it whilst my team tries to take it. It may not be necessary. I can also do some peripheral damage. For instance, I'm going to take out the 50-point target as well, just to hurry things along. I want to bomb the main object, power plant. That's the bomber's job. That 50-point target, well, actually the bomber may want to do that as well. I'll soften it up for him to make sure if he does drop a bomb on it, he definitely gets it. If he doesn't, I'll then use rockets to finish it off. Now, I never expected to finish that off. This one I'm hoping I will, though. Blimey, I didn't actually finish that target off. Okay. We got that quickly. Now what's coming in? Ground attacker. turned up to 11 to stupid, or am I going to get to shoot him down? Up. There'll be a heavy and a bomber coming over here shortly. Now, what's my XP-58 doing? He's been shot down because he went to the centre. Is this guy going to keep coming here? This is the guy who was on my team last time. So he's got the protection expert skill on his gunner because I could hardly kill him. Be careful there, that's an I-260. Snipe me out of the sky. Oh, blimey, there's two of them. And this second one got my engine. Something else coming in. It's a ground attacker again. Managed to hold on to it, hold it onto it for a few seconds more, but the RB-17 is going to finish it off. Well, we got at least one or two more counts out of it. If you want to take the plant, you've got to turn around. And here we go. He's 4,000 feet away from me, and he's still shooting me. There is no fighter or heavy in the game that can shoot at 4,000 feet. And that's just wrong. He should be able to do that. But what I did do, there we go, another shot. He's still shooting me. He's 3.5, 4,000. He's just stopped now. But he keeps taking my engine out, which means I cannot attack him properly when he comes back in. And then he makes a dumb move like that. And as you can see from the conversation, he thinks that's well played by me. Well, that was entirely your fault, idiot. You had me on toast. You could have done anything. I'm going to have a word with that guy. I'm a noob because I'm protecting the. I'm doing the right thing. I'm protecting the plant. That just shows you the level of stupidity of these players. Be back in a moment. Somebody's just knocked at my door. Right. Nice. And it's that level of knowledge. That guy was on my team in the previous game, and that illustrates the utter lack of knowledge of the CIS players. He thinks I'm a noob because I stayed and defended the plant and shot him down. Yep, I'll let you read that for a moment. I'm working off some of my frustration at all the CIS players on this guy. It's a little bit unfair, but as I say, he just called me a noob for sitting in the corner and defending. And that, in a nutshell, exemplifies exactly why these CIS players are utterly, utterly, utterly useless. It's an interesting point, Paul. I wonder if they have been turned up. So I guess, actually, I'm in the wrong place. You can't necessarily read that. It's just... move me. So just in case that's a little bit difficult to read, what I've read there is that the guy called me a noob for sitting in the corner and defending the plant. Never mind that I never was able to get out of the plant because they constantly kept coming there and shoot and trying to take it. The comment from Dubak was I was a noob for sitting in the corner and not coming out of the corner. In other words, leaving and letting him do what he wanted to do. And apparently this makes me a noob. We've realised that the CIS players that have come to this server are, almost without exception, unskilled and tactically clueless. By calling me a noob for defending and retaining a critical sector, thus winning the game, you have put yourself amongst their number. Learn how to play instead of moaning when you're beaten because you play badly. And that, in a nutshell, is what we're faced with at the moment. Dubak is just an example amongst the vast majority of these players who've come to this server who play appallingly badly and are clueless about the game. To be fair, he's one of the very few who actually talks. And at least he didn't swear, because the rest of them, well, actually he did swear, it got blanked out, didn't it? The rest of them, the few comments that I've had from CIS players in the game have been rude in the extreme. And apparently this is common as well. It's what passes for polite conversation from the CIS server players. It's very disappointing to see in all senses. What's the good news here? Well, the good news is not that this guy's going to learn. I very much doubt that he'll change his cultural preferences for being aggressive and being thoughtless tactically within the context of the game and bomber spamming. But the good news is we have finally got Across the Ocean completed and we can go down the tiers, where we're still going to be faced with another problem with the CIS players, and that is swarming away from important sectors that you may have taken to unimportant sectors and thus losing them almost instantly. But it will be less of a problem than this appalling bomber spam, which I have to say is really, really, really boring me. And I hope Wargaming take note and do something about it. As I say, the simple thing for them to be able to do straight away would be to limit the bombers and grand attackers to one per side and always matched against humans, and force these players out into other aircraft if they want to play at tiers 9 and 10. When we will see, I suspect, that they are actually unable to play at all. Anyway. Okay, back in my normal position, and that I think will do. Basically just wanted to show you what I was doing for a couple of hours on YouTube, talk about the state of the game, which isn't great, I have to say, make some progress on the candies, which I've done, fairly happy with that. As I say, I'm looking to try and get to around about 70, 80, 470, 480. If I can get this mission completed, I'll be close to that, if not actually past it, so I'm happy with that. Right, one and all, thank you very much for joining me on my YouTube stream this afternoon. I hope whatever part of the day you're in, it will treat you very pleasantly for the rest of it. I should be streaming on Twitch again tomorrow morning, maybe on YouTube again tomorrow afternoon, day 8 of Holiday Manoeuvres. If you are around, I would love your company. If not, I will look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, let's just activate that. This is the Noble Q saying thank you once again and signing out. Bye-bye, everyone.